All right, Knicks fans, we need to talk about something that's been sitting with me for a few days now. And honestly, it says a lot about the character of this organization. Karl Anthony Towns just sat down with the New York Times. And what came out of that interview is one of the classiest things I've heard from a player in a long time. And if you're new here, smash that like button right now, because this channel lives and breathes Knicks basketball, and I promise you, sticking around is worth it. So here's the situation. We all remember how last year ended. Tom Thibodeau, the man who took this franchise from an afterthought to a conference finals team, got shown the door after losing in 6 games to Indiana. A lot of us were furious. I was furious. It felt like a gut punch after everything that man built brick by brick over 5 seasons. 226 wins. For playoff appearances out of 5 years. The first trip to the Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years. And his reward was a pink slip. Then Mike Brown walks in, inherits that roster, and what happens? 53 wins in the regular season, and then one of the most dominant playoff runs this league has seen in decades. 16-3, a championship. The first one for this franchise since 1973. Let that sink in for a second. If you were alive for that first title, congratulations, you're a legend. And drop a comment telling me where you were when this year's team finally broke the curse. Now here's where it gets interesting, and where Towns really showed who he is as a man. A lot of players in his position would have stayed quiet about Thibodeau. Some might have even thrown a little shade, The new coach unlocked something the old one couldn't. That's the easy narrative. That's the lazy narrative. But Towns didn't take that route. Instead, he gave credit where it was overdue. He basically said both coaches did something remarkable. One got them to the doorstep of a championship. The other picked up that exact same group and, without ever coaching them in person before, managed to stamp his own identity on the team and push them over the finish line. And then he made the point that matters most. None of that means Thibodeau wasn't good enough. It means the opposite. Thibodeau was always good enough. And now there's a ring in this building to prove it, even if his name isn't the one etched on it as head coach. I don't know about you, but that hit me. Because there's a difference between loyalty as a talking point and loyalty as a lived value. Towns didn't have to bring up Minnesota. He didn't have to talk about watching Thibodeau grow as a coach and as a person from those early days all the way through his Knicks tenure. He chose to. That's not PR spin. That's a guy being honest about the relationships that shaped his career. And if that kind of accountability and respect resonates with you, drop a comment and let me know. Because I want to hear what you think about players who give credit to the people who came before them instead of pretending history started the day they got there. Now let's talk about Brown for a second. Because Towns didn't stop at Thibodeau. He turned around and gave Brown his flowers too, and rightfully so. He talked about how Brown built on top of the foundation Thibodeau laid down, but added his own fingerprint to it. And this is the part that I think gets overlooked in a lot of these championship conversations. It's not just about X's and O's. It's about finding the right combinations, the right rotations, the right guy for the right moment. Towns specifically called out Landry Shamet for showing up big in the playoffs. He shouted out Ariel Hikporti for stepping up in clutch situations when the team needed a body, needed energy, needed somebody who wasn't afraid of the moment. He mentioned Mitchell Robinson, Jose Alvarado, Mohamed Diawara, and a long list of role players who made winning plays when the cameras weren't necessarily on them. And he brought up Tyler Kolek, who balled out during the stretch when Jalen Brunson was hurt. Think about that for a second. This team didn't just survive an injury to their franchise point guard. They found a way to keep the machine running because Brown trusted the pieces around him. That's coaching. That's chess, not checkers, as Towns put it. Every single move Brown made throughout that playoff run was deliberate. It wasn't luck. It wasn't just talent showing up and figuring it out on its own. It was a coach putting players in positions to succeed at exactly the right time. And as a fan who watched this team get doubted, get counted out, get told they didn't have the right pieces year after year after year, watching Brown outcoach everybody in his path felt like vindication. But let's be real for a second, because I'm not here to just gas up everybody involved without giving you my honest take. There's still a part of me that feels for Thibodeau. This man poured his soul into rebuilding a broken franchise. He took a team that had become a punchline and turned it into a contender. And the timing of his exit still stings, even with a championship banner now hanging in the rafters. Would this team have won it all under Thibodeau if he'd gotten one more year? We'll never know, and that's the tough part about sports. Sometimes the guy who does the hardest work isn't the guy who gets to lift the trophy. That's not fair, but it's real, and I think it's worth sitting with that instead of just moving on like it never happened. At the same time, I can hold two truths at once. I can respect what Brown did. I can appreciate that Towns is giving genuine credit to both men, and I can still feel like Thibodeau deserved better. That's not contradictory. That's just being a fan with a functioning memory and a heart. And if you feel the same way, if you're still a little conflicted about how this all played out, I want to hear in the comments. Are you fully moved on from the Thibodeau era, or does it still feel like unfinished business to you? What I keep coming back to, though, is how rare it is to get a lockeroo with this much self-awareness. Towns didn't have to say any of this. He could have just talked about the championship and moved on. Instead, he took the time to contextualize the journey, to name the role players who don't always get the spotlight, and to make sure Thibodeau's fingerprints on this title weren't erased from the story. That's leadership. That a guy who understands that legacies are built by more than just the person holding the trophy at the parade. So here's my final thought before I let you go. This championship belongs to everybody who ever put on a Knicks uniform and bled for the city, going all the way back to 1973. It belongs to Thibodeau for laying the groundwork. It belongs to Brown for finishing the job. And it belongs to every single player, from the stars to the guys at the end of the bench, who showed up when their number was called. If this video hit different for you, if you're still riding this championship high, do me a favor and smash that like button, drop a comment telling me your favorite moment from this entire playoff run, and subscribe if you haven't already, because we got a lot more Knicks content coming your way all season long. Let's go Knicks, and I'll see you in the next one.